the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. And this morning we're going to talk about Instagram again. My name is Lowell Ann, and I'm here on beautiful Victoria, can't say that. I'm on Vancouver Island in beautiful Victoria, let's say it that way. And in my coaching and consulting work, I help solopreneurs stay focused and motivated as we take their business to the next level. And we use a few simple structures and some pretty easy technology. So we'll be right back right after this. So greetings wherever you are, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO. This is a weekly success circle intended as a solopreneur support. We get together because we enjoy each other's company. We love exchanging ideas and information, and we do a bit of experimentation as well. And we all give and receive support from each other and from others, of course, as well. You can discover what we stand for by reviewing our operating principles on this page being on my website. I want to welcome our viewers and invite them to check in by telling us what you do, where you are, and in the comments section over on the right-hand side. And so now it is time for the members of the panel to introduce themselves. And normally what I do is start with the first one to get here. So Fred, that means it's you this morning. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, Laura, and it's Fred Jones. I am also in Victoria on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and I'm the creator of Our Future Leaders, which is a cutting-edge online group coaching program for young people, assist them to gain communication, leadership skills, and also help them gain a lot of self-confidence to become the leaders that our world needs. So I have a lot of fun with them, and last week I coached a young man who was, believe it or not, speaking in French. So I had someone who speaks French as well help me. But he came in third in the concourse competition in his grade level in the provincial competition last Saturday. So it was wonderful to see him. And he's a great young man, 13 years old. So wonderful to work with him.
Oh, how nice. Wow, that's cool. And imagine working through interpreter. That's quite an experience. I know this from experience myself. When a group of us in Yellowknife went to Siberia and worked in a conference. We ran a conference there, and of course we had to work with interpreters throughout the time. So it was really quite interesting. You do get used to it, for sure.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad you're here, and I heard you say you're going to California.
Yes, visit in June, beginning of June, coming back beginning of July, spending a month down there with my other daughter and two granddaughters down there.
Right. So this is a good time for me to actually let everybody know there will be no Success Circle next week. I got informed that they're coming to do some major work in my place, my apartment here, and so it's just not going to be possible. So we will have a hiatus for next week. But we will return the following week for sure. So thanks for that reminder. You didn't realize that you reminded me, but it did remind me. So Vivek, what about you? How would you like to introduce yourself?
Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. VivekTechnology.com is my website, and my tagline has been unify, simplify, amplify life. So I am in England. Last couple of days it has been quite warm for a change. I think summer is back for another spell, I suppose. It only comes in spells. So.
Does it really get, are summers hot there, Vivek?
Not for me.
No.
As you can probably see, I am from originally from India. And a couple of days ago, I read a report saying, I think it is Delhi, it hit 50 degrees centigrade.
Oh yes, I was in Mumbai one time when it hit 50 degrees Celsius.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, here in UK, when it hits 27, people start complaining and start shedding clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the other thing that was really interesting about Mumbai was that it's very humid there because it's right on the ocean. Oh my God.
It is actually it's a group of islands which are combined. So sea is actually trying to take over parts of land.
Yes.
Global warming.
Yes.
And they're trying to reclaim it, and there are locations where it is called as reclaimed Mumbai, and the site prices, the price for the location is so high, you can't believe it.
Yeah. Yes, I remember going to one of the islands because there were some very interesting caves that I went to visit. Yeah. So, well, welcome here.
Thank you.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, it would be unheard of for things to go to 50 degrees here. I mean, it's even hard to visualize.
Yeah.
So now, Nancy, I think you were the next one here. Welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be back. Nice to see you again. It's been a while. So I'm Nancy Kreitz at nancykreitz.com, and I help people create radiant health and joy in their lives. And that's a body, mind, spirit philosophy and approach. And coming from a background of chronic pain with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and daily migraines, I really appreciate how wonderful it is to wake up and feel like life is a joy. And especially living where I do here in Victoria right now, especially every day is really a joy. And I offer a very simple, wonderful method. After 16 years, I've keep fine-tuning my offerings. And at this point, I know there's one super simple thing you can do that can really turn your life around and be an amazingly strong first step towards healing. And I offer a free consultation to anyone who's ready to get started with that. And here in Victoria, I teach Qigong at Fairfield Community Center. And hey, this Saturday I'm having a workshop on healing and creating health and joy in your life. So that's me, I guess.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. And I might say that where Nancy lives is right next to, I guess you'd call it a mountain here within Victoria. And I remember attending one of her Qigong sessions up there. And it's up so high that you can see for miles around and across the ocean. It's just incredible. And she posts a lot of really interesting photographs on Instagram. So I know that there's at least two of us here that do Instagram. So
Yeah, thanks a lot.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And I must say we're enjoying the pictures behind you as well. Those.
Yeah, that's great. Next time I'll sit so you can see outside, maybe.
Yeah, but then you've got the wind to deal with, and then that's difficult.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you're here, and look forward to what you'll be able to share. So Alana, you're here after a very busy day.
I'm on deck after a very busy day. So yes, thank you very much. Alana here, coming to you from Ireland, where we are getting some sunshine and warm weather. I'm happy to say finally. I run a website called emptynesterblog.com where I teach empty nesters how to create their own online income. And as a result of that, I also have a virtual assistant business. So both of those keep me pretty busy. So happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. And I always say busy is good.
Busy is good.
Yeah, right on. So welcome here. Yeah. And Jay, what's up with you today? Oh,
there you are. Well, like Alana, I'm relatively busy. Hi, my name is Jay. My company is Magi Studios, and I help people get started in the world of online marketing through coach, consulting, and training. Happy to be here, and excited to talk about the Instagram.
right. Well, welcome here, and I just want to make sure I got everybody, just because I don't have everything up on full screen here. So I guess I've got everybody. So if anybody notices somebody coming in and that I didn't notice, please flag it for me. So why are we talking about Instagram? We talked about Instagram about a year ago, I remembered, and we talked about, when we talked about it then, we sort of said, oh yeah, it's owned by Facebook and so forth, and why would we want to use it for business? And from my notes, I noted that we concluded at that point that Instagram was a nice way to show the personal side of ourselves and our business. And so we're talking about it today because there was a little bit of interest. I think it was Alana that was interested in kind of exploring Instagram, perhaps from a business perspective. But for me, I kind of said, well, business or pleasure. And as we were saying in the green room before we went live, for me, from my own personal experience, it's kind of the same thing happened with Facebook, with Instagram as with Facebook for me. I joined Facebook years ago when it was really, really new, and as a means of staying in touch with the people I care about and that I really enjoy, and my friends, and what are they up to, and all of those things. And of course now Facebook has become a very business kind of oriented thing, although I guess some people do still use Facebook in that way. So when Instagram came along, I thought, oh, isn't this fun? And because I love taking my my phone with me on my walks around Victoria. I and taking pictures and playing around with interesting little spots here. I decided that I really liked Instagram because that was one way to share what I was seeing. So I have to say that I haven't done much in the from the business perspective, although I call myself a coach on there, etc. So I guess I must have had some business connection in my mind. I think I've been on Instagram for a couple of years. I guess the one thing that I'm noticing about Facebook and or Instagram and or Google Plus, etc., I seem to be connected to the same people on all of them. So, I mean, the idea that, you're finding a new audience doesn't seem to play out for me. So I wondered, what about the others? I know that, Jay, that you do a bit of Instagramming. Is that a word? And Nancy, I know you do a bit. Does anybody else here? I know that Vivek said he hasn't used it. And Fred, I guess you said you haven't used it. And Alana, I remember you saying last week you hadn't started using it yet either. So from a user perspective, I've given you what my experience is. So Nancy, what about you? I mean, I notice that you take a lot of pictures from Victoria.
Mm-hmm. Like yourself, I love to take my phone around, and as I'm on a walk, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got it. That is so beautiful. Like everywhere, we see such amazing things in nature and otherwise. And I'll just stop and take a little snapshot and come home and sit down and go through what I've taken that day. But my experience with Instagram is I do have, I offer 7 tips to create radiant health,
Mm-hmm.
like a freebie through my Instagram in the profile. And unlike Facebook, I find that, like just now, I was just checking to see the latest post I put up. I reached 48 people and I had 2 profile visits. And I find every week I get new people signing up through the 7 tips. They go immediately into my email list for my blogs to get my mail outs, which don't happen as regularly as I'd like. So I am building my audience in that regard. Whether they'll stick with me remains to be seen. I haven't seen anything in terms of revenue in that regard, but my following is growing on my email list, I would say.
So in your profile in Instagram, you talk about the 7 tips and give a link to it there. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, I use Linktree. So I've got my website, I've got my blog, 28-day Be Radiant for Summer program I'm running beginning June 4th is in there, and my 7 tips.
So what's Linktree?
It's through Instagram, and you can just set up a little links, a few links that you feel are important.
Oh,
Jay probably has a better way of explaining it, but it's kind of neat because you can have a whole bunch of your offerings or what you want people to look at right there. So, and also I wanted to just add in terms of Facebook versus Instagram. Yeah, I have the same people, but on Instagram, I'll get sometimes like 30 likes. I know some people get hundreds, but I get about 30. Whereas on Facebook, I get about 4. And also my followers, whether or not it's relevant, I'm not sure. I think I'm up in the 337-ish number, something like that, or 237. I don't know, but I think on Facebook it's like 40.
Yeah.
So I find whether or not it's viable. And I did have a fellow in Cook Street here in Victoria who's just starting his business who did a free analysis for me of my Instagram account. And he said the average age on Instagram is about 30, 28. So it's not really my audience per se.
Wow.
Yeah. So he said, don't spend any money on Instagram and don't spend too much time on Instagram.
and yet that's where you're getting the
I'm getting more followers on my blog, but whether or not that makes a difference, I don't. You never know, right?
Yes, you never know. That's true.
Well, that's my experience.
Yeah. And so, Jay, what about you? Yeah, I can never find your site on Instagram, but it pops up whenever you post something.
Yeah, I don't post that often. So first, to kind of add to what Nancy was saying with Linktree. Linktree is it's almost like a mini landing page service that's free. And the issue with Instagram is that it only provides you with one link.
Yes.
In your profile.
Yes.
Any links that are in posts, you could put a link in there, but they're not clickable and you cannot copy and paste them. All right, with your phone. So that is why Linktree is the solution. So what you do is you replace your own URL with Linktree. So mine is Linktree/Magi Studios, and you click on it, and then there's all these different kinds of links that you can add. So if you have a specific link that you want, if your latest Instagram post is about something that says, hey, click the link to watch the full video, or link in bio to watch the full video. So then it has the ability to have more than one link inside your Instagram, essentially. So it's a nice solution for having getting people to click on whatever you want. So that's a convenient thing. So with Instagram, my perspective with Instagram, it does two things, at least for my business. It builds the brand and it humanizes the brand. Okay. So it's not all about posting specials and hey, check out my latest article, hey, buy this and that, it really isn't. People don't want to be sold on Instagram.
I don't think so. I agree with you.
They don't. Yeah. Right. I mean, they don't want to be sold in general, but Instagram is a breath of fresh air. That's I think a lot of people like to go because it's a very short, meaningless relationship when it comes to engaging with in social media. Right. It barely puts the social in social media, and it's literally just looking at pictures and it's like, oh, that's nice. Typically very little engagement unless it's some sort of controversial thing. So it really is just for brand building and also humanizing your brand to show that you're an actual person. You're a real person. I usually, my Friday nights consist of doing some live training here in my office, and then also after that, I usually go get a unique craft beer from Victoria, and I usually will post a picture of it. It's like, because a lot of the beer that I like to have has very unique artwork, so I'll throw that in there, right? And I don't sell beer, I just drink it, and it's just and I get a lot of likes from that, and it's kind of cool, and it's just humanizing the brand, and that's really all it's all about.
Well, and I noticed that you used a bit of humor in yours as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's just my personality, right? I mean, and that reflects within my training. And just me in general.
So humanizing, but I have to say my own experience as a consumer of Instagram, whenever I'm bored, that's where I go. So I'm sitting somewhere with nothing to do, or something's on the radio that I want to listen to, but I still want to do something. That's what I do.
As I said, it's a short, meaningless relationship.
But I love it. I just love it. I'm fascinated by some of the photographs that people put on, etc. I have to admit that when something rolls by that says sponsored or ad or something, I just go right by them. I just ignore anything that says sponsored or an ad. So that's me, my experience. So now for the others that have not used Instagram, I thought I might show off a little bit today and show you a screen share of my phone and show you what you get. Because Instagram really is kind of more about mobile. I think you can do certain things from your desktop in Instagram, but it is really intended for mobile. So let me see if I can screen share. Let's see what happens. Can anybody see my screen? That is within OBS. Now I need to screen share for the lookers inside. Are you able to see my screen share?
Yeah, you can.
Right. So you see, this is the front page of my Google Pixel, and I have all my social organized in there, and so here is Instagram. So you get these across the top are people that you follow and things that are live right now. And if you want to see your own work, here is where it goes, and you can see all the things that you've posted, and you can see that almost everything I've posted are things about Victoria. Places that I love, things that I find unusual. This one, for example, I was walking by the Inner Harbor one day and noticed that I don't know how many people said they walk by there all the time and never saw that. So you get to see things and do things. So here's another thing that I tried to do, and I didn't do a very good job because the print doesn't fit. But this was an experiment that I was using one of the pieces that goes with Google Photos. So, but the only other thing that I have done in terms of business would be something like this. And I don't even remember how I did that anymore. So it just, so I did two of them. And let's see if I can get the other one. Yeah. So those were a couple of experiments. But for me, it's way more fun to do something like this. This is in Estevan Village, if for anybody who would recognize that. It's just it's on the edge of a park. So Jay, what's the name of your site?
You mean my Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Magi Studios, MAGI.
I thought that's what I looked for. GI or JI? GI.
G.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. So there is Jay's. Oh, there's his May the 4th be with you. So you can see that oh, there's a picture of his studio. So that's a cool one too. I thought that was cool. There's You've been at that for quite a while. You've got just as many as I have in there. So, Nancy, how about telling me the name of yours so I can look it up? You're muted, Nancy.
There we go. I'm trying to figure it out. I think it's Nancy Kreitz, Radiant Health and Joy. Yeah,
Here it is.
Radiant Health. Radiant Health.
There it is.
You got it.
Yeah. So there's the rock that is out behind Nancy's place with a cruise ship in the background.
Well, no, I think it's a tank.
Is it?
Not a cruise ship, though. But it was the bluebells I was so pleased to see on the rocks right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so this would be an example of your using it for business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yes, I try and do a couple. Like they say, it's that, what is it, 12 or whatever the shows right there, like in one chunk.
Yeah.
That is your, I don't know what. It's supposed to reflect your profile, who you are.
Yeah.
And so not too much business, not too much one thing or another. So I try, and it tends to be heavy on the flowers right now.
Yeah, of course.
And then 28-day program mentioned there.
Oh, right there. Oh, wait a minute now.
Yeah, second one.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. I'm pointing to it. Huh?
Yeah. So you can see, so those that are not using it as yet, this gives you a sense of what, what the sites look like. Now, what I thought I might do is go back to and show you photos. So here is a photo that I took as a child. Lilacs were my favorite flower. So I saw that, and so this is in Google Photos. So then you can see down on the left hand, bottom left hand, there's a share. And so you can share a photo with people or Instagram. So there is me posting and putting in, you can decide on the colors you want. And then here is where you can write a caption. So I'm just going to put something very short here. I can't type.
Getting there.
There. That'll do for the time being. So you can see how easy it is to put something in from your phone. So I will stop sharing now and go back to where we were. So can those who who have not used Instagram, can you see any potential for making use of it? Or would you, I guess my question still is, is it for business or is it for pleasure or is it for both? So Vivek, how do you react to, because I know that you have a brand new Pixel phone, so and you're out there taking pictures for Google Places.
Mm-hmm.
But do you see yourself ever using Instagram from your phone?
Possibly, because I actually just created an account, but I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When I tried to log in on my phone, it said which account you want to use. I was saying, what? I have only one, but then it seems to show me two options, and then I don't know. So how do I handle multiple accounts if one has that? This can be useful for where you need to keep your personal stuff and business stuff
I don't
into
know. I didn't
account,
know that you
maybe.
could have more than one account.
That yeah, even I didn't know. I mean, obviously, I'm very new to Instagram
Yeah.
as such, but that was the option it threw me, and
Hmm.
it really threw me.
So I guess we're gonna have Jay. What about you? Are you aware of more than one account?
Mm, I think it depends on your maybe because Facebook is tied into Instagram, so it could be if you have more than one Facebook account or more than one email associated to your Facebook account. Sometimes you have
Mm.
more than one email. Also, if you have a business page that has a separate entity, so you have your personal Facebook, and then you have your business Facebook
That
profile.
could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that could be the issue there, right?
Mm.
Because
But
that's exactly what Instagram says. It says, well, do you want to do, because there is actually a personal Instagram and a business Instagram. And if you look at my Instagram, you'll see that it has my office address and the phone number, and it's got a thing where you can see the map and all that stuff. And that's the business Instagram account. So
mm,
and from a business perspective, there's actually, and also an SEO or search engine marketing perspective, there's a tremendous benefit to doing that, having your account as a business account. And it's like it doesn't cost anything. There's no additional charge. It doesn't change the interface or anything like that. It just adds additional features like that.
Mm.
So
so how do you switch between the two? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
between personal and business,
Yeah, I mean, for example, I go to a place, I think I can take nice pictures there, and some of them probably fit into business, some of them fit into personal. So how do I?
well, you can have. Am I? You can have more than one Instagram account.
Mm-hmm,
Okay. So I'll see if I can show this to you. So if you go to, so if you, there you go. If you
mm-hmm,
click that, the little human button,
mm-hmm.
so it shows you your profile there, right?
Yeah.
There's a little cog right there. There. If you
I
click
don't see
that
the.
cog,
I don't see
you
the
can
cog.
then
Hmm.
you can then add an additional account, so that way you can have multiple logins.
Interesting. I don't see the cog in mine either.
Yeah.
Then that's because it's not a business account. So I don't remember how to change it to a business account.
I guess we
Yeah.
all have some research to do.
Then yeah, that brings back to my original question. How do you, if you have more than one account, then how do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
switch between the two easily? And it has to be simple. I mean,
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's typically in that cog area or in the top right-hand side area.
but I don't see the cog at all on my phone. So
Yeah, sorry, just give me 1 second here.
He's going to look it up, aren't you, Jay? All
Yeah,
right.
just
So
because. Okay, so go to your. You don't see a cog at all, like a
no.
little on the top right. Interesting.
yeah, I don't either.
Can I just say that if I go to my Instagram homepage and I see my name, then I see edit profile, and right to the right of that is the cog. Now I'm going to click on it, and it doesn't give me any option. It says change password, authorize apps, notifications, privacy, log out, cancel. So, and that's because, like you said, Jay, I don't have more than one account, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, here's the same.
Oh, Heidi, are you there?
I'm here and listening to you.
Oh,
Me,
when did you come in? I didn't see you come in.
10, 15 minutes ago.
Oh.
I'm trying also to find out on my cell phone, but I'm on the computer. Have the cock, but it does only log out, it says, but nothing else. And I just want to try on cell phone, but I think it's the same thing.
Yeah. I'm not, I don't see a cog in my account either, but I know that I've only got one account, so.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I only started using Instagram just now, and how it says I have more than one account, I don't know.
All right.
Get it through
Absolutely no idea.
I got mine through the App Store. Maybe that makes a difference. It's like
App Store.
I simply Googled switch to business account Instagram or Instagram switch to business account, and I was able to find a guide on how to do it. So. Oh,
right on.
Yeah.
So I certainly found edit profile, where it allows you to. It says try Instagram business tools. I bet you there's some things in there. I haven't looked in there for a long time. So I guess it's time I did a little.
Can I talk a little bit about Instagram ads?
Yeah.
So there's two types of ads in Instagram. There's one within just the timeline, right, where you'll see a sponsored post. And then there's also Instagram stories, which is the little circles at the very top where you get to watch these little videos.
Yeah.
The ones that I find work quite well are the Instagram stories, where it all of a sudden it's a commercial, right? And it says, swipe up or, swipe up to buy or learn more. Many small e-commerce based businesses are doing this, and they're finding relative success in conversions for that. And it works really well with one, that it's video, and two, that it's a product. There have been many times that I've seen something. I was like, oh yeah, I'm interested in that, and I click to learn more. And I think I've purchased a couple times as well. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So
it's all based on your interest, right? And
yes,
and it captures your interest based on your activity inside Instagram, right? So, keep in mind that it's owned by Facebook, and they like to collect a little bit of data. So.
Yes. No kidding. So, in terms of enjoyment, I might point everyone to a thing called Subway Creatures. It has got to be the funniest thing I have ever encountered. Whoever travels the subway in New York takes pictures of all of the people and the things that they do in the subway and on the trains. It is just hilarious.
So it's not restricted to just the New York subway. It's actually Subway Creatures is an account where you can tag Subway Creatures, and then if they think it's funny, they'll post that video.
Oh really? I thought it was just one person. Wow.
Oh yeah. Well, it is owned by one person, but the videos themselves are not sourced from that one person. It's sourced because I've seen videos from the Toronto subway, the TTC. I've seen the underground. So I think I saw Vivek in there too. It's kind of weird.
in light of the last week's or was it a couple of weeks ago, privacy and things like that, how does that I don't know.
I don't know.
I would be a bit concerned about taking pictures of people in a London Underground, say, for example.
Sure, but it's no different than you taking pictures for Google Maps or Google My
No,
Business.
No, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of people, I am a bit more concerned in the sense
Sure.
I try to avoid, I mean, I wait for time when there are no people
Yeah, no, I
and
understand.
then take the picture.
I think it's a great question though, because
I do
but
too. Yeah.
I think what happens is the moment you post something on Instagram
Mm,
publicly,
mm,
it essentially becomes public domain where people
yeah.
can then, and if you actually tag subway creatures, for example, in La Land's example, then your specific intent is to share that video with that account, giving them the permission
Mm-hmm.
to share that video
Mm-hmm.
elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
You know, social media accounts like Instagram and Pinterest, it's it's like an intellectual property nightmare, because literally it's like, you know, oh, someone takes my photo and reshares it, tags me, or someone. The same with Pinterest. Pinterest is, I mean, there is so much copyright infringement on Pinterest. It blows my mind, because there's people that take other people's images and but everyone just turns a blind eye. It's like smoking pot here in BC. You know, technically it's illegal, but everyone just, you know.
Yes, they do it on the streets here.
Yeah. Well, it's because they can't do it anywhere else.
No, that's true. Yeah. So that is a good point, Vivek. I mean, that whole thing. I mean, but I suppose the other way to look at it is that if people are doing things to make themselves noticed in the subway, don't be surprised when people take pictures of you. So, I mean, there is a little bit of responsibility on the part of the individual doing it. But it blows me away when you see the things that people will wear. Loads and loads and loads of costumes, for example. You know, God knows why. And they carry all kinds of animals with them. And it blows my mind to think that, you know, people are so used to being in the subway that they almost regard it as their home or you know, where they hang out all the time. So, yeah. So Heidi, what about you? How can you see an application with Instagram? Do you use Instagram? Yes, I think you do. I think I've seen you in there.
Yeah, my name is Traviata
Of course, yes.
Traviata from the opera of Verdi, because I love to sing that. And yeah, I use it mainly for, let's say, so far for personal purposes, and I take pictures when we do walks or excursions or whatever. And many of Mark, because I take the pictures and he is the object of.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I just created such a business account on my cell phone, and it was easy. And I will see if I do that for my house. I need to attract guests who pay me for renting an apartment. So I need to make a little bit more publicity. So that's so far I never really said to people. It happened to me. A person who had to was with us on a show for 4 or 5 times, and only now he got to know that he could do a course here for a group. You know, he didn't know. So I think I'm not really good in in telling people what I can offer. You know, I have to change that, and maybe Instagram is a good way. I don't know. I will try it out.
Do you watch Instagram frequently or?
Not really frequently. Whenever I do a photo, then I see for a while what is going on, but not continuously.
Right.
I never, all social media, that's just too much to go through everything. Every now and then I go there and see a little bit, but Yes, I did at the beginning, and the first time spent 2 hours on Google Plus. I cannot do that anymore.
Yes, we have to bide our time and energy, don't we? Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Pick your battles.
yes, pick your battles. That's another way of saying it.
Yeah, but I think it's a really good source for, like I said, humanizing your brand and you know, because let's face it, every other social media network right now is all 70% ads, 30% social.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we know that Instagram is probably going to be heading down that path as well. So, that being said, I think it's a really good thing to not overthink Instagram. Don't overthink about what you post and stuff. You know, like it just, you know, a lot of people. I mean, one of the reasons why I've done it, started to use, is just to, like I said, humanize me, right? Because there's, you know, with the people that watch me in
WA.
the live training, you know, it's me behind a screen, and that's, you know, that's all they really see, and they don't see, you know, the J behind the wealthy affiliate. So, and it works really well, you know, and I've done a couple live videos before, like live streams in Instagram Live, whatever they call it, where it's me setting up, getting ready to do the webinar, and people thought that was pretty cool. And so humanizing your brand, I think, is really cool, because it's going to build trust with your audience, and it doesn't matter who or what it is you're selling. You know, if you're selling a service or a product, I think getting your face in there is really important. You know, so, and regardless of what your niche is, you know, I think it's really important to get your face in there and get some videos and stuff. So, I know that I've changed my mind on some businesses, and I've had purchase intent as a result of watching other people's business accounts, right? So, like one classic example the other day was Vancouver Island skydiving. They've got a fun little Instagram account, and it was this 15-second video of one of their customers landing, and he was just like seething with joy, you know, and he was like, "Oh, I just want to do that again," and it just made me want to go skydiving. Like, that is, and I commented, I said, "Now that is a brand ambassador," and they replied, right? It's like, so, but that made me want to go and try skydiving. Like a 15-second video of someone landing, of doing what they do every day, it made me want to go buy that. So, and they weren't advertising, you know, they were just showing what they do.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing, you know, and that is humanizing your brand right there, is showing that you create joy and happiness. And that, I think that's the real key.
Yeah.
Show that you're creating joy and happiness with your product or your service.
So just show what you do.
Yeah, totally.
So, Fred, what about you? Can you see an application for what you do there?
Thanks for asking, Lowell. There may be a time, as I think has been discussed, when you want to humanize and show what's going on in the background and not just in the forefront of what you're trying to sell. But I always look, and it's been said, Heidi and yourself has just said, we only have one resource, and that's time. Where do you want to put your time?
Yeah, no kidding.
Next shiny object. But that's why I like joining here, because you often share the different technologies, and then I'll assess and say, do I have a need? What is the need I need? Maybe it is to humanize. People aren't seeing what's really going in the background. And this gives us the great opportunity to do it, as Jay has rightly indicated. But as you and Heidi mentioned, time is of the essence. There was a time when it was suggested I use Twitter. Now, I was using Twitter in a different environment. That was, I was marketing a product, an online internet product for project management. And I used Twitter, and then I found after a while, I would allocate maybe almost an hour a day of what I would do to track what was going on in that particular environment. And then I looked after a few months, what were the results of that 1 hour a day? And I managed a few things, but I thought, no, I could do other things with that hour a day and get probably more results than I was getting through Twitter. Now, that might have been my skill set. I'm not sure, but I certainly know that I have to look where I'm going to spend those hours a day. And this is what concerns me about using any product, including Instagram. You can get, I guess for lack of a better word, sucked down the rabbit hole. And Facebook does that to all of us if we're not careful.
Yes.
And so does YouTube. They keep saying, oh, you want to see one, and then they just keep playing the others. And an hour or two later, you say, how did I get here? I started there. So that's my concern all the time, is the time. But I enjoy listening to this because there may be a time when I want to show what's going on in the background in a 15-second snippet where somebody is showing the results, because that's what it's all about. What are the results you're giving your clients? As the skydivers have indicated, and Jay, then I think it's a good tool. So I'm happy to be here and listen and say, would I use it? Not at the moment, but now I'm aware that, okay, these are some of the advantages of perhaps spending time. I would probably allocate it to some of the young people and say, hey, could you use something like that? Because they are more technologically skilled and know other products that I've never even heard of. Like Twitch was one of them that sort of came to that. And now it's becoming something. So that's my 5, 10, 15 cents worth on what I think.
$20 worth.
Yeah.
Now, Alana, you were the person who was most interested in exploring Instagram from a business perspective. Yeah. So what's your take on it?
Moment? Well, I mean, after hearing this conversation, I mean, I've always had a love-hate relationship with social media anyway. And I've always tried to separate out my personal from my business accounts. But, in listening to this conversation, it has occurred to me that it's, as Jay was saying, from a branding point of view, if you're in business for yourself, I think it's a good idea to show different sides of you through those platforms, because it shows that you're not just out there trying to sell something. You're actually a person, and you have other areas that you're interested in, other things happening in your life. So then you become more than a one-dimensional person, because you have all this other stuff going on that you're sharing. But I also, in saying all that, I know that anything I put out there is fodder for anyone. So like, that's going to be in the back of my mind. Anytime I put anything out there, I know it can be used anywhere. So, and you have to kind of put stuff out there with that in mind.
Yes.
So I mean, I kind of think I might jump on the Instagram bandwagon, because I kind of think it doesn't sound that bad. I just followed Jay. I just started following people.
Well, that's how you start.
Why not?
Can I add something?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I just found this.
How about switching accounts? Oh, you. Thank
He's
you.
a guide I found about switching accounts on Instagram, and they seem to be hosting a website itself, help.instagram.com. So
right on.
Probably there is a lot more than just that.
And I would suggest, why don't we all put our addresses into the comment stream?
Yes.
I mean, on the website, and then invite everybody to follow us.
Yes. Yeah, we could do that.
In the room here, but also other people who come and watch it later.
Good idea. I'd be happy to do that. Yeah. So the other thing I was going to mention, I see we're at the top of the hour, and I need to respect everyone's time. One person, the consummate expert on Instagram is Sue Zimmerman. So she does all kinds of sessions and courses and workshops and does all kinds of things. So if you can find, and I possibly could post a link to her work as well. I stumbled on her through Steve Dotto a number of years ago. So she's been promoting Instagram as a business thing right from the very beginning. Now I'm seeing a share screen.
I'm trying to get out of that. How do I?
There.
Okay. It's a bit confusing when.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nancy
Okay.
has a question.
Yes, I was just about to go there, Nancy.
Oh, thanks. I'm just curious, like for another day, obviously, I'd be curious to discuss, like we've talked about all the time we put into things like Instagram and social media. What about like if we put all that time into creating a newsletter each and every week for our list? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there in terms of investment in our business, in building our brand, in our, I don't know, waking people up a little bit maybe about what we have to offer.
Investment of time.
I don't know what you think. Or you may have already done that. You probably have.
We haven't
Nancy,
talked.
if you join my list, I can show you how.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's what Jay's Friday night things are all about.
I did have a young gal last year I hired for, I can't remember, marketing expert. And she said that every single week, send out a little something. But she also was really big on all the social media. But she was also 27 or something. Way different demographic than me. Hard to believe, I know, but it's true. But Jay, I'll look you up.
But email marketing is probably one of the more solid foundations when it comes to getting your message to your users, regardless of what the demographic is, you know, their age, gender, and so on and so forth. So it's something that I do, and it's probably one of my best converting sources, and it's fantastic. So I highly recommend that you invest in email marketing, because it's I mean, that's certainly something that we can talk about next week. I can talk till I'm blue in the face about.
I certainly have sort of not gone there because I felt like I would be sort of just repeating what happens in WA. But Nancy and others, if you would like to talk about our use of time and the investment and what's required to do a weekly blog, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you, because I find mine doesn't convert.
Yeah.
And what's WA, Lolan?
Wealthy Affiliate. I'll send you a link.
Oh, okay, thanks.
I'll talk to you about it later. So,
thanks.
So we have run over a little bit. What about and does anybody have a parting shot over and above what we've said? I still say I want to use Instagram for fun. But I don't want to lose it for fun and make it.
Yeah, you're totally allowed. Just because you run a business or you're an entrepreneur, doesn't mean that you're forced, that you have to use Instagram for business, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to have a business account.
Yeah.
So,
And set your timer.
Yes, that's the only way to go to avoid the rabbit holes. All right, so folks, I think I'm going to simply close today's circle by just reminding people to do what you love with passion. So I need to stop streaming here and stop streaming